Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both shocking and eye-opening, the kind of topic that might make you want to invest in a hazmat suit and a lifetime supply of hand sanitizer. We're talking about dirt, grime, pollution, the works. Buckle up because we're about to get filthy. Now, before you start mentally planning a trip around these destinations, we're not talking about a little dust on your boots or a smudge on your window. We're talking about the kind of dirt that makes its way into the air you breathe, the water you drink, and the very fabric of a nation. We'll be counting down the top 5 dirtiest countries in the world, looking at the reasons behind their environmental struggles, and hopefully prompting some important conversations along the way. Let's be clear, this isn't about pointing fingers. This is about understanding the scope of the problem and, more importantly, exploring potential solutions. Our first stop on this not-so-scenic tour takes us to Bangladesh, a nation locked in a constant battle with both air and water pollution. Now, Bangladesh isn't exactly known for its pristine landscapes, but the situation there is far more serious than a few stray plastic bags caught in the wind. Imagine, if you will, a country where the air is thick with smog, a toxic cocktail of vehicle emissions, industrial waste, and the ever-present dust from construction sites. Breathing in Dhaka, the capital, is often compared to smoking packs of cigarettes a day. And no, before you ask, that's not an exaggeration, but it's not just the air that's cause for concern. The rivers, once teeming with life and a source of sustenance for millions, are now choked with industrial runoff and untreated sewage. We're talking levels of pollution so high that they're literally off the charts, making even the most resilient fish think twice about taking a dip. The consequences of this environmental assault are devastating. Respiratory illnesses are rampant, waterborne diseases are a constant threat, and the country's already strained healthcare system is struggling to keep up. It's a vicious cycle, poverty leading to environmental degradation, which in turn perpetuates poverty. But amidst this rather bleak picture, there is a glimmer of hope. Bangladesh is home to a growing number of activists, scientists, and everyday citizens who are working tirelessly to turn the tide. They're fighting for stricter environmental regulations, promoting sustainable practices, and raising awareness about the importance of conservation. Their efforts are crucial, not just for the future of Bangladesh, but for the entire planet. Because when it comes to the environment, we're all interconnected. What happens in one corner of the world inevitably affects us all. Our next stop takes us to Pakistan, a nation grappling with a different kind of dirt waste. Now, I'm not talking about a few overflowing bins here and there. We're talking about a full-blown garbage crisis where mountains of trash have become as ubiquitous as chai stalls and cricket matches. Imagine, if you will, cities where open dumps stretch as far as the eye can see, a festering landscape of plastic bags, food waste, and discarded electronics. The stench alone is enough to knock you off your feet, and that's before we even get to the health hazards. These mountains of garbage aren't just unsightly, they're breeding grounds for disease, attracting vermin, and leaching toxic chemicals into the soil and water. It's a public health nightmare waiting to happen, and for many communities that nightmare is already a reality. But the problem goes beyond overflowing landfills. Pakistan, like many developing nations, lacks a comprehensive waste management system. Recycling is practically non-existent in many areas, and the informal waste sector, while providing a vital service, often lacks the resources and infrastructure to dispose of waste safely. Adding to this toxic cocktail is the issue of industrial pollution. Factories, many operating with lax environmental regulations, pump their waste into rivers and streams, turning vital waterways into poisonous sludge. It's a classic case of short-term economic gain at the expense of long-term environmental and public health. But amidst this rather grim scenario, there are glimmers of hope. Pakistan is home to a growing number of organizations and individuals working to tackle the waste crisis head-on. They're promoting recycling initiatives, advocating for stricter environmental regulations, and developing innovative solutions to manage waste effectively. Our journey through the world's dirtiest countries takes us now to India, a nation of vibrant culture, rich history, and unfortunately some of the most polluted air on the planet. Now, India's environmental challenges are as diverse and complex as the nation itself, but today we're focusing on one issue in particular: air quality, or more accurately, the lack thereof. Imagine, if you will, cities shrouded in a perpetual haze, a thick smog so dense it blocks out the sun and makes your eyes water just thinking about stepping outside. That's the reality for millions of people living in India's megacities, where breathing the air is often compared to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. The culprits behind this airpocalypse are many and varied. Vehicle emissions, industrial pollution, construction dust, and even the burning of crop stubble all contribute to the toxic cocktail hanging over India's urban centres. The consequences of this air pollution are as alarming as they are widespread. Respiratory illnesses, heart disease, and even cancer have all been linked to prolonged exposure to India's hazardous air. Children are particularly vulnerable, with air pollution contributing to a staggering number of childhood asthma cases. But it's not just human health that's suffering. India's air pollution is also taking a toll on the environment, contributing to climate change, acid rain, and even damaging crops. It's a vicious cycle with far-reaching consequences. But amidst this rather bleak picture, there are glimmers of hope. The Indian government has implemented a number of initiatives aimed at curbing air pollution, from promoting cleaner fuels to investing in public transportation. Our next stop on this environmental expose takes us to Nigeria, a nation grappling with a problem of truly epic proportions: waste. And we're not talking about a few stray plastic bags blowing in the wind. We're talking about mountains of garbage, overflowing landfills, and rivers choked with plastic. Imagine, if you will, cities where open dumps stretch as far as the eye can see, a dystopian landscape of discarded plastic, rotting food, and electronic waste. The stench alone is enough to make your eyes water, and that's before we even get to the health hazards. These mountains of trash aren't just unsightly, they're breeding grounds for disease, attracting vermin and leaching toxic chemicals into the soil and water. It's a public health nightmare, and for many communities that nightmare is already a reality. But the problem goes beyond overflowing landfills. Nigeria, like many developing nations, lacks a comprehensive waste management system. Recycling is practically non-existent in many areas, and the informal waste sector, while providing a vital service, often lacks the resources and infrastructure to dispose of waste safely. Adding to this toxic cocktail is the issue of industrial pollution. Factories, many operating with lax environmental regulations, dump their waste into rivers and streams, turning vital waterways into poisonous sludge. It's a classic case of short-term economic gain at the expense of long-term environmental and public health. But amidst this rather grim scenario, there are glimmers of hope. Nigeria is home to a growing number of organizations and individuals working to tackle the waste crisis head-on. They're promoting recycling initiatives, advocating for stricter environmental regulations, and developing innovative solutions to manage waste effectively. Our final stop on this global tour takes us to China, an economic powerhouse grappling with the environmental consequences of its rapid industrialization. China's environmental challenges are vast, but today we're focusing on one issue in particular: air pollution. Imagine cities shrouded in a perpetual haze, a thick smog so dense it blocks out the sun. That was the reality for many of China's megacities just a few years ago. The culprits are many: coal-fired power plants, vehicle emissions, industrial pollution, and even the burning of coal for heating. The consequences are alarming. Respiratory illnesses, heart disease, and even cancer have all been linked to prolonged exposure. But amidst this bleak picture, there are glimmers of hope. The Chinese government has implemented initiatives aimed at curbing air pollution, from investing in renewable energy sources to shutting down polluting factories. These efforts are starting to yield results, with air quality showing signs of improvement, but the battle is far from over. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the world's dirtiest countries, a sobering reminder that environmental degradation is a global issue with far-reaching consequences. We've seen firsthand the devastating impact of pollution on human health, the environment, and the very fabric of these nations. But amidst the grim statistics and disheartening images, there is hope. We've also seen the tireless work of individuals, communities, and organizations fighting for a cleaner, healthier future. From promoting sustainable practices to advocating for stricter environmental regulations, these changemakers are making a difference. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and be sure to let us know in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover next.